Hey guys, welcome back to the Next Rank YouTube channel. It's Johnny and Jack, and today we're going to be going over our top recommended movement mechanics to learn at each rank. We've done videos like this on aerial mechanics and ground mechanics before. Now we're going to talk about movement mechanics because you often hear, people talk about you need to be faster, you need to be more efficient, but how to do that sometimes confuses people. So let's just break it down. Let's go through the ranks one by one and tell you guys how you can be moving a little bit more efficiently, a little bit more quickly around the pitch. Starting with the bronze, silver and gold ranks, we're kind of grouping these together because it's just simple. At this rank you just need to work on flipping. Might seem pretty obvious to a lot of you guys, but pay attention because there could be something here that even you higher level players don't know. So yeah, front flipping is obviously the basic. This is the first one you want to learn when you're in bronze. Is front flip. You gain speed when you front flip, so you could do this from a standstill to build up some speed. You can even just use it to preserve some boost if you want to get a little bit of speed and save the boost that you do have. And then the next one up from this is side flipping. There's no specific rank where you need to graduate to these. It's not like, okay, finally you're out bronze and start side flipping. You can start doing this immediately. But the differences between front flipping, side flipping is that side flipping, you can boost the entire way through. So if you front flip and boost the whole way through, you'll show everyone that, it kind of messes up your landing. You kind of fly up in the air a little bit. At some point, your boost is pointing backwards, and you just get stuck.
You're going slow.
You slow yourself down because you're literally boosting the wrong way, so you have to let go of boost halfway through if you're adding boost to this, which is a bit more complicated. Side flip, you don't have to worry about that. You just boost the entire way through because your boost is always pointing in the way you want it to be pointing.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to move into a different lane, think of it like that. If you need to move forward but also a little bit to the right, side flipper to left or right is a good way to do that, to get forward while also changing lane. And lastly, the last one, the diagonal flip. This is the hardest of the three, but these are all things you can do when you're starting to get through the early ranks, bronze, silver, gold. Diagonal flip does keep your boost pointing back more than a front flip will, but less than a side flip will, so you are going to need to feather it a touch. But because you don't need to feather it as much, you can get a little bit more boost in there than a front flip would. And if you can correct your direction before flipping, because of course you are going to move diagonally, so if you want to go to a straight line, you got to turn first in the opposite direction. But if you can master this, then you're going to be able to go a little bit faster and get around the pitch just a touch faster than people who are only front flipping. Jack, any comments on these basic flips for the early ranks?
No, not really. This is very simple. Flip to gain speed, to preserve your boost, like Johnny said. No real kind of comments. The only thing I will say that everyone watching this video can learn from, even myself sometimes, usually when I'm playing bad, I need to remind myself this, so everyone can learn, is flipping too much around the pitch is gonna be bad, pretty much. You're gonna get caught out on bumps, you're gonna get caught out on demos, and you're also just going to get caught out in wrong positions. Most of the time when you're flipping too much around the pitch, you are really, you're almost too early to the play or too late sometimes. Your timing is going to be completely off with your positioning, and that's going to be an issue. So everyone can really learn from that. But yeah, that's the only comment I'd have on those.
Okay, so on to the platinum ranks. Now this is where we can use a new mechanic. We're going to be half flipping. This is an important one to learn. A lot of you will know about this and haven't really put the time into practicing it yet. Well, now's the time. I think when you're in platinum, it's a good level of I guess experience and a good level of just base mechanical ability to start implementing half flips consistently. There's a few different variations actually, but the first one, the easiest one, is actually this will depend on whether you're using controller or keyboard. I think the easiest one is where you just go straight back, and then once you flip cancel, you roll around. But if you want to be faster on controller, you can do the kind of 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock half flip. That's where instead of pointing your joystick straight down, you point it at 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and then you flip cancel by going up halfway through. So this will be slightly to the left or slightly to the right, but it will be a bit more fluid. You don't have to wait as long with the flip cancel before rolling around with either directional air roll or just regular air roll.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So like Johnny said, the initial one that I completely agree, by the way, the initial one that I teach kind of people to learn first off is the just straight back flip cancel, and then when you're facing upside down like this, then you turn around. The issue with this is that you have to use boost for it to be effective. If you do this without boost, You see how you land a little awkwardly there? You know, you can't turn around fully in a straight line. You always land a little bit off put. And you also just kind of hit your head a little bit on the landing. It's not as fluid. Whereas with the advanced, I always call this the advanced type of half flip. This is a lot more fluid, and you can boost. You don't have to boost, sorry, when you're doing this. So this is just easier if you want to half flip without having boost. It looks way nicer. It's a little harder because you have to roll the stick around. You have to have a little bit more control. But there are obviously plenty easy ways to learn that on this video. We're not going to be going too in depth of how to learn it exactly, but yeah, those are the couple tips we have for half flips. But yeah, platinum, it's always a good rank to learn this. So if you guys haven't, if you're above plat or in plat and you haven't learned half flip, yeah, it doesn't take too much time to learn, and it will give you massive benefits in game and make you a better player overall.
Okay guys, on to Diamond. And now at Diamond we're going to be talking about wave dashing, and we're just going to be talking about one wave dash in particular, because while we think there are lots of different ways to wave dash in the game, the main one you want to learn first is coming off of the wall, usually side wall or back wall, and just doing a quick jump off the wall and then wave dashing on the ground. Plenty of tutorials on these things all over the internet. We've of course got these mechanics in the next rank course as well if you want a deeper dive into them, but quick explanation: you just lean back when you're back, and then you jump towards the ground. When your back wheels touch the ground, you flip forward. That's as simple as you need to understand. And if you are getting this wrong, it's probably because your back wheels are still in the air when you're jumping, or when you're flipping, I should say. So you'll just kind of do a barrel roll forwards.
Sorry, there we go.
Yeah, Jack, you're gonna have a hard time showing this badly. So once you get this down, you can do it very consistently. You just have to be patient. You don't have to flip as early as you think, and you can give yourself more of a lean if you want to have I guess an easier visual, an easier window to hit. The more tilted down you are, the more close to parallel you are, the shorter the window is that you can actually flip. And the other way that people do it wrong, instead of flipping too early, is flipping too late, where actually all four of their wheels on the ground, and they land and then jump again. Which isn't the end of the world, but it's not a wave dash.
It can be the end of the world when you do what I just did. If you land and jump too quick, your car like kind of lifts up either front ways or back ways, and the first way it did it lifted off like that, and then you can spin out. So yeah, the wave dash is pretty easy to get down. If you do mess it up, it can be pretty detrimental, and even sometimes pros mess a simple wave dash up, Johnny, and it can leave you looking pretty stupid in the pitch. I will say that wave dashing can be done elsewhere. It can also be done in different types of ways. We're going to get onto a couple, kind of more advanced types of wave dashes later on in the video. I will say that if you guys wanted to get the wave dash kind of implemented in your game, not just off the walls, this is mainly for the higher level players, like kind of a bit higher than Diamond, maybe Champ, maybe GC even. Wave dashing in the middle of the pitch like this, Johnny, it can have similar benefits of a flip without committing to the path of a flip. The issue with flipping around the pitch, as I said earlier, is that you're getting bumped, you're getting demoed a lot, because your opponents can see as soon as you flipped, you're going to land in a certain position. You can't change that after you flipped. With wave dashing, you can still get that bonus speed if you wanted to have the opportunity to pick up speed. But also, if the play changes direction that you weren't expecting, you can also just choose not to wave dash. Sometimes I'll go like that, and I don't actually need the speed, so I'm going to slow down without wave dashing. And it also doesn't commit me to one path, where I'm not going to get demoed as much. So a few kind of, couple things for the higher level players. I will say that if you're Diamond and you wanting to learn wave dashing for the first time, don't worry about doing this in the middle of the pitch, because you're probably not going to pick out the right instances to do it anyway. Mainly focus off the wall and get it down first before you move on to a couple more advanced positions to do it in.
Alright guys, before we get onto Champ, because we've just covered wave dashing at Diamond, we want to throw in kind of an honorable mention movement mechanic here, because we see a mistake with players learning how to wave dash, and also players learning how to do our Champ mechanic, which is going to be speed flipping, by the way. So we'll just I'll spoil that one. It's coming in a minute. But for speed flipping in Champ and wave dashing in Diamond, a lot of players, when they're learning these, will not get the landing completely straight. They'll practice jumping off the wall to wave dash, land a little bit left or a little bit wobbly, and spin out, or lose control, slightly lose speed, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. And same thing with speed flipping. When players are trying to learn how to speed flip, sometimes they'll land in an incorrect direction because they haven't got the muscle memory down yet. They haven't got the mechanic perfect quite yet. So the honorable mention mechanic is to hold power slide anytime you're landing.
Yep.
And this is not just good for these mechanics, but just good in general, and it's something that all really high level players and pros will do, but not all like players in the kind of champ to GC ranks. Some players haven't implemented this to their game yet. Anytime you're landing, you might as well just hold power slide, because if you do have any imperfections in your landing, power slide will smooth them out, and you can correct them before you spin out of control or just lose a little bit of speed or efficiency, lose a little bit of boost, trying to get back the speed that you lost.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's a bit of a weird one. I think that pros, I think once you get to pro level, you actually almost stop doing it only on certain moments where you're landing, because at pro level you have such a obviously good understanding of how your car is going to land naturally. But you're
so straight.
Yeah,
all the time,
honestly, you don't need to. But at every other rank, I swear to you, every other level, you really want to be trying to hold power slide when you're landing on most things, because especially with our next tip, Johnny, for champ, like you said, speed flipping. A lot of time when we first learn how to speed flip, we're just not going to be landing in the right direction. We're going to be speed flipping, and we're like, I can't even mess it up because obviously I have the muscle memory down. But like you
do a keyboard.
Yeah. Like if I speed flip on keep, I mean that's pretty good as well. Hang on.
Wait, you're actually really good at keyboard.
No, I'm not. Like so, there we go. Like because sometimes you'll land a little bit wonky. Holding power slide can just help you almost, mitigate the damage that you're doing to yourself, right? That's what it's trying to do. So hold power slide, it's going to give you a little bit of a better recovery if you've done it badly, and that is something that you want to be keeping in mind. But Johnny, speed flipping, that's really the champ one we want to be talking about. This is absolutely necessary for if you want to get higher level. It's not absolutely necessary to learn it right now, but you might as well get ahead of the competition.
Get started,
because most champs are learning speed flip. We've been looking at replays, and some don't, but some do. So you want to be checking it out. You want to be trying to get ahead. It's just simply the fastest way to flip. We obviously said diagonal flipping, front flipping, side flipping. Speed flipping is a combination of flip cancelling. So your back end of the car, where the boost is coming out of, is always facing the correct direction for you to be boosting forward. Okay, it's always facing behind you. So speed flipping, it allows you to boost all throughout the flip, and the boost is always pushing you forward. Okay, we do have a good video on speed flipping in the course, Johnny. We also have a really cool tool through Bacchus mod that people can check out in that video to help people correct their speed flip. It's really interesting, so definitely check that out. But yeah. The only tip I have for speed flipping, is that most people think they have speed flipping down, and it's actually just a side flip, Johnny. The amount of champ kind of rank replays that we see of players kind of trying to learn speed flipping, and a lot of time it's just side flipping because it looks similar. So if you think that you're speed flipping, but you seem a little bit slower still on the kickoff than your opponents, you might be side flipping. So just check out for that. That's the only thing I will say.
Yeah, that's actually another buff for the side flip, though. If you guys want to look like you're speed flipping, but not have to practice it, side flip, because people might think that you're better than you are and be scared of you on the pitch. No, all jokes aside, speed flipping is really important. If you want to just start implementing it to your training, it's easiest to do just from midfield play, not from kickoffs in my experience, because the kickoff you have more time to overthink
That's a good point.
You have more time to just try to preload the sequence in your brain. You don't need to do all that. Like you just have to do it and let your brain figure it out for you. If you have time to overthink it, you have more time to mess it up, and you just end up manually flip canceling like half a second after you've flipped, and it's just too late. So this kind of same thing happens when you're doing it in the training pack. Musty's got a good training pack for this, and a lot of people will struggle with that because it's all they're thinking about, and they're overthinking it. If you just want to start doing it in like what Jack's doing right now in your free play, you might actually have more success. And then once you've just drilled it a little bit in your regular free play sessions, then you can go into the training and check how your progress is with speed flips. I consider it more like a checkup. Okay, let's
Yep.
see where we're at with that. Use the backers mod tool that we got in our course.
Yeah.
Shout out backers mod. And then once it's comfortable to just do it on the pitch without thinking, you can start to really push yourself in the training, really do it on kickoffs and stuff like that. Yeah, don't think of it as like replacing all the flips we talked about at the start.
That's
like
a great
we really
point,
do.
actually. Yeah.
I think like a lot of players, they try to speed flip all the time, and in fact a lot of pros will do this where they don't have any boost, but they still speed flip because they just want to look cool and look mechanical. Or maybe when you get to pro level, it really doesn't matter. But for a lot of the rest of us, it's not necessary. Just like, forget about your ego. Just front flip. You've got no boost and you want some forward momentum. A front flip is going to give you the exact same as a speed flip if you're not boosting. Same as a diagonal flip. They're all just going to do the same thing. Give you that forward momentum boost. So yeah, don't think of this as like, okay, I just hit champ 1 for the first time. Johnny and Jack said I've got a speed flip from now on, so I'm only speed flipping. It's something you should just integrate to your game, and eventually, it will become a natural part.
You're 100% right. Pros, you mentioned that, oh, maybe it's actually not an issue at that rank, but it is. Pros a lot of the time will speed flip on every flip, and even when they don't have boost, by the way,
boost.
also, which doesn't, it doesn't increase, your speed, because the whole point of a speed flip of why it helps you is because you can boost in the direction. That's just muscle memory anyway, but they speed flip when they do have boost, Johnny. They speed flip and use boost, and it pushes them too far forward because they're getting there too quick. Sometimes you do want to just do a regular flip. You want to just do a front flip or a diagonal flip. And
side flips are good. I like side flips because they
well.
change what the thing I mentioned at the start, what lane you're in.
Like,
I think that's really useful at high level.
Specifically on movements like this. Movements like this, where you're trying to flip through the boost and go to the mid of play mid section after. Like, whereas if you diagonal flip here, I'm obviously just going to hit the wall, right? So side flipping is useful for that. But yeah, pros, Johnny, pros all the time talk about how botty, like how much of a bot the pros look like when they're flipping because they're not speed flipping. Like, why is he not speed flipping? He's front flipping. And it's just like the best player in the world. Like, dude, I just don't like how he looks. He's a front flipping or a diagonal flipping. And I'm like, bro, they're just...
I don't know how they care.
Yeah, like, it's like... Still front flip is what is the end kind of message here. Still front flip even when
Jack,
you...
I once saw... Oh, sorry to interrupt you. You have to hear this. Yeah, I once saw a streamer. I won't say who. I'm not trying to, talk trash about anyone specifically. I saw a Rocket League streamer getting completely farmed in kickoffs in 1v1. They were playing some 1v1 on stream. They lost 10 kickoffs in a row. They lose 8-0. They're just getting bodied. They forfeit. Happens. No big deal. So they download the replay to see what the other guy's doing. And first kickoff of the game, the other player just front flips. This is an SSL game, by the way. The opponent front flipped on the way to the ball in the straight spawn, and the streamer closed the replay. They were like, nah, I can't learn anything from this player who just beat me 8-0, winning 10 kickoffs in a row, because they saw a front flip, and that immediately for them meant that this player's below them, and they disregarded everything about it. They're like, no, I can't learn from this guy. Now, that same player just made top 6.
Oh,
the
no
player
way.
who beat the guy. Just made top 6. It was Zapatos.
This is the good player. This is the player that was winning all the kickoffs. Yeah,
the good player. Yeah, the good player who was dominating the kickoffs. The player whose replay was immediately closed because of a single front flip was actually Zapatos. Zapatos front flipped on one kickoff, and that was enough for our streamer high-level player to decide, nah, I can't learn anything from this guy because I've seen a front flip. Therefore, everything this player has to show me is worthless. And I just could not believe what I'm seeing.
Amazing.
This is insane. That is just an unbelievable ego that's now holding this player back. They could have learned so much from one of the best kickoff players in North America and indeed the world. Zapatos just made top 6 in RLCS, of course. Played really well. And we'll talk a bit more about him in the SSL section. But yeah, all that to say, hopefully you guys don't mind the tangent, all that to say, don't have an ego about flipping. Front flips, diagonal flips, side flips, they all still have their place.
Absolutely. And moving on to GC, Johnny, we've got wall dashing, and as well as a little bit of a different variation of wall dashing. So we've got a couple.
Yeah, you call this a Mina dash. Why do you call this the Mina dash?
I don't know. I think you coined it that. Did you not? I feel like I saw this from your stream one time because the Mina players were doing it first. It's as simple as that. I don't know which.
I credited this to TRK initially as the first player I saw do
and then
this,
I just kind of took it and ran with it. I guess. I think a lot of people
did.
Yeah,
you've started saying Mina Dash in your videos. I'm like, okay, I think this is where it must have came from. But everybody's doing it now. It was like Gamers 8, maybe the first Gamers 8 2022, I think, when this first appeared. But yeah, it's a type of advanced, speed flip / wave dash onto the wall, which looks cool and also is very good for getting touches. It's good with the ball.
Yes, it is.
Pros do it all the time with the ball now, because you can get a good touch on, then a good landing, all at once. So that's one thing, and then also
like
wall dashing. We're kind of just putting these two together for you guys in GC because they're both quite situational, but they're both worth learning at the GC ranks, which of course there are quite a lot of GC ranks, quite a lot of time spent in GC while you're ranking up.
Yeah, wall dashing, obviously it is important to learn. I would say, I'm kind of like going back on it here. I would say that the majority of people wall dash too much once they learn it. They start wall dashing like even when they're supersonic, which I guess keeps your supersonic, but they start spamming it all the time. So if you guys do want to learn how to wall dash, you can be very, very careful and mindful of how you use it. I've never been one to spam wall dashes. I don't think you should. I think that doing wall dashes with this amount of time in between each dash is as much as you need to learn, in all honesty, to go pro. You don't need anything else. You don't need to learn how to spam it. But it is good to gain speed. It is good to keep your momentum, keep your speed without using much boost on the wall, and it is very good at scaring your opponents. So a lot of players at lower ranks, or I say lower ranks, like lower than SSL, GC ranks, when they hear a person wall dashing, spamming wall dashes going down the side of the wall, they get scared, and it can throw them off a little bit. The other type of dashes we have on the wall, Johnny, this kind of variation of doing and opening your car wheels up to the wall and then dashing. That is the first kind of variation I would learn if you want to learn how to dash onto the wall, because it's easier than the Mina dash, which is the opposite way. You're opening your car, the top of your car to the wall slightly, and then you're speed flipping onto the wall in the opposite direction. Okay, so if you're on the right wall, you're speed flipping to the left to get onto the wall with a type of dash / just movement onto the wall. It's very quick, it's very snappy, and it is, like Johnny said, very useful to carry on with touches. I'll try and see if I can just set one up like this. Get a touch past your opponent that's on the wall trying to challenge you, and then quick shot onto an open net in 1v1, for example. Movements like that, very, very useful. So definitely practice those.
And of course, the final way to set up these advanced wave dashes is off the back of a flip. You can do this off the speed flip, or any flip really, front flip, any flip that's going to create that kind of wobble effect in a forward direction or diagonal forward direction. You can watch players like Zapatos do this. He actually was heavily
he was the guy really
involved in popularizing this, because he did it in. Actually, people thought it was easier in his car, the Sentio.
Yeah.
But he says it's harder, and I believe him. I think it probably is harder because those flatter cars, they can, it's harder to control the amount that you're going to wobble here. So all you Octane Hitbox players, no excuses here. But yeah, Zapatos, good to watch for this. I think Jack's also a really good player to watch for this. You do this really well. No glaze.
Thank you.
AJ is someone else you mentioned. He's really good at these. Does them all the time. Vatira. Yeah, you said Kofer.
Kofer, great. Yeah.
There's a lot of players who do this a ton and do this very consistently. Off the flip is the common one.
Yeah.
It's a nice one to,
it's a middle ground.
Have.
Yeah. It's not as hard as the landing, efficient. But it's also you're flipping a lot naturally, so you will get more chances to do it than chances off coming down a wall or landing from an aerial. You get more chances when you're flipping around the pitch because you do it more often.
Yeah, and I'm still surprised at how many pros don't use these advanced wave dash techniques, because there are so many of them, and they're just a small advantage. But when you get to the top level, when you're SSL, when you're 2K rated, when you're looking to push top 100 or be bubble pro, whatever, the advantages that you gain, the small advantages, can mean so much, because everybody's moving so well, everybody's moving so quickly, so efficiently, and if you can just do it a little bit better, then you're going to, of course, have an inherent advantage. But yeah, all of these mechanics that we have in this video, we've gone over them pretty quickly. We've got them all, I believe, actually in the next rank course. If you're interested in getting a more deep dive on any of these movement mechanics or any of the other 160 odd videos we've got in there, then do check the link in the description. But yeah, we've tried to give you guys a little teaser, at least a little idea of what you should be doing and why, and then the actual how to do it. There's lots of tutorials online for plenty of these movement mechanics. The more advanced stuff, maybe not, but we'll leave that to all of you TNR course members.
Definitely. And the only thing I will say, Johnny, is that a lot of pros don't learn this because I do think it's a very, very small advantage. However, it can just give you a goal every now and then, and almost like you can't score a certain goal without it sometimes. So I don't think I'll be able to find it. I'll try and spend 10 minutes looking for it, but it was a couple of weeks ago now. But I had the scrim against Vitality where in one of the games for one of the goals, Zen, the only way he could have scored, the only way he could have got back to the ball was a very unique situation where everyone had low boost and he was just kind of in a race with someone else to the ball. And the only way he could have scored was with a low boost zap dash to gain speed and score the goal. And he did that. And I think in the same game, I did it off of a kickoff to score a goal. So it's very like, if you, it does give a small advantage. It's nothing to go crazy about, but it can lead to you being able to score a goal that you would not have been able to score before. So definitely an interesting one to learn. Spend a little bit of time with it. But yeah, we do have a ton of videos on that. Like I said,
you know what that reminds me of, Jack? When you're talking about this right now, this is really interesting because I remember way back in like RLCS Season 1, people talked about wave dashes in the exact same way that you're talking about.
Right.
And even half flips. Like actually, it might have been later on. I think it was half flips Season 1 or pre-Season 1.
Yeah.
And then wave dashes came along. Every single one of these movement mechanics that we've now put in the earlier ranks, way back in the day, it was discussed whether or not it was important.
Right, yes.
Like, I remember vividly the conversations with pros pre-RLCS Season 1. Is it important to half flip? Some people thought, nah, you don't need to half flip. Like,
I'm always in the right position.
If you're a good player, I'm always in the right position, then you don't need to half flip, which now, like, thinking back on, is ridiculous because you're always going to end up out of position or getting bumped around, and half flipping is so useful to reposition. The same conversation happened with wave dashes a year later, where people are thinking, you know, is it viable? Yeah, clearly it gives an advantage, but it's so situational. Is it important? And then people were doing what you've just done there, where they're trying to find a single instance where it mattered to show, hey, look, there we go, it matters. So all that to say that eventually, you know, these advanced mechanics will just be things you're going to see in lower ranks.
Yeah.
And they're going to be unanimously considered fundamental.
I'd agree. So, I would agree.
We're jumping the gun. We're putting it SSL right now. But in the future, we might have to revisit this, and you know, there will be new movement mechanics, I'm sure, that we can put out there.
I do wonder how long it would take for that to happen, but yeah, I completely agree. I don't want to go on too long about it, but yeah, simple as that. People, will be using kind of more advanced type of movement in lower ranks in the future that we currently have at higher ranks. So definitely going to be interesting seeing the development of that. Johnny, we do have a lot of these, pretty much all of these, I think. Yeah, all these movement mechanics in this video was all ground based. We do
ground wall.
Yeah, ground wall, kind of just surface, you know, on a surface based.
Surface level.
Which we should have said actually, by the way. If you want to wave dashes onto the ceiling for ceiling shots, just a really quick last one that I forgot to say when we were talking about wave dashes earlier. But ground, ceiling, surface based. If you want more aerial type of movement mechanics, we do have a few that would be really really interesting for you guys to learn, that a lot of people kind of, I wouldn't say they forget to focus on, they just don't know that they should focus on a couple of them that I really think make a difference in people's overall kind of mechanical skill with their car and how they move. So yeah, we're probably going to make a video on that. Let us know in the comments though if you do want to see that. It just helps us get a bit of feedback if these types of videos are helping you. We'll obviously use our own judgment as well, and if we do think it's going to help, regardless of what people think, we'll probably put it out anyway. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. Let us know if you want to see it as well. Johnny, do you have anything to say to close this off, or do you want me to throw it out on an end here?
Yeah, just to remember that we're going to go in depth on all of these in the course. Movement is a massive deal. We hope that this is helpful to you guys understanding why you need to use certain mechanics like these, and why movement and efficiency is a big part of the game, and it will help every other aspect of your game if you can work on your movement and actually implement these mechanics, implement these strategies.
Yes, definitely. There's no top level player without great movement. So it's definitely a must-have if you guys want to improve at the game. Guys, if you have enjoyed, drop a like, drop a sub. Of course, let us know in the comments if you enjoyed the video, if it helped you out. Check out all the other videos on the channel. Of course, check out our website, thenextrank.com. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.